Hey everybody, it's Todd Seymour from Tax and Trust Management, where always trying to give you just enough knowledge to be dangerous. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how to develop a budget. So whether you're still working or retired, everybody's biggest fear is running out of money. And if that's your biggest fear and you don't do a budget, I want to at least give you some suggestions on how to start a budget from scratch. And you'll notice that we put an attachment with a 2-page worksheet that will kind of at least give you a good gauge on how to get started with some of these expenses. But let's start with the first thing that we need to do when we're developing a budget, and that is identify your 3 categories that you need to look at. And the easiest way to do things is to not put them all together, but break them down. My analogy all the time is it's like chopping down a tree. Don't take it all in one swing. So first thing we'll do is look at, our income sources. So you're working, we've got wages, we have self-employment income. Depending on what you do for a living, that's obviously your income source. And we're trying to get a gauge on how you get paid, what days of the month, and is it systematic and reoccurring? If you are retired, is it Social Security, pension? Are you taking money from investments? If so, how often? Where are you taking it from? And, whenever we talk about cash flow management, like budgets, it is amazing how much cash flow intertwines into taxes, which intertwine into investments. Everything is a continuous integration of each other. And that's what we want to look at, is something systematic with income. Expenses and savings, those are the other 2 outflows that you're doing. If you're, that's what the best part about that budget worksheet that's attached. It'll definitely help you out with the expenses. I'm going to give you some ideas on how you want to tackle that. And savings, if you're still working or even if you're retired, how have you allocated this number A to figuring out where we're going to put some of that money? So we've identified. And the second thing that we want to do is we want to determine what our average expenses are, but more importantly, by category. And we talk about this all the time too. Sorry, my writing isn't the greatest. We talk about this all the time about, when we're looking at tax planning, and I want to see if I can itemize. I always mention to clients that we definitely would like you to get a credit card that has an annual summary that's going to give you a breakdown by category. So if I get to see, where am I spending money? Is it household? Is it going out to dinner? Is it Amazon? I jokingly say all the time, the Seymour residence literally is Christmas every single day. And we have 4 dogs at home. So every time the Ring doorbell goes off for Amazon, you've got 400 pounds of dogs running full speed to see what mom got for Christmas on that Tuesday. So we want to basically see where our outflows are going. We want to categorize those. And that's going to help us make some determinations on some of the other things that we're going to talk about. So the third thing that we want to do is we want to prioritize our expenses by, let's call it needs and wants. And so what do I mean by that? I had a client come in one time, and every single month she was falling short on her budget. And so she was pulling money out of investments or pulling money in different ways and running short every single month. So what I had her do, these 2 things right here, we want to look at least 3 months for an average. And so I made her do this. This exercise was good for her. Is we sat down and basically we went over everything. She had everything categorized, had all her credit card statements, all her bank statements, everything nice and laid out. And when I went over every month, you're right, it was a deficiency. We had a shortfall. And she said, everything that's on there is definitely a need. And so what I'm going to suggest to you is, so I took out a green marker just like this, and I went through and said, all these that I'm marking up in green are wants. And you could tell by the category of what they were. And when I held up the piece of paper, you could see just greens all over the place. And it truly, the visualization of that made her realize that not everything was a need. It was a 50-50. So we want to prioritize our expenses by needs and wants. We may want everything, but we don't need it. And my kids, if they're watching the video, would say that's what I hear every single day. So number 4 is we're going to build a budget worksheet. And again, I attached that for you to make it super simple. So now that we've looked at our income and expenses, and we've dove in even more so on the expenses, we got 3 months. Now we get to print out that 2-page worksheet, and we're going to put everything together. And now, again, every time you're doing this, nobody likes to do what I call homework, but it definitely gives you, it's an exercise, just like anything else. If you read something, sometimes it soaks in, but if you're writing it, it even soaks in more, and it gives you a good visualization of what you're doing as far as income and expenses. So the 5th one is we're going to look at, see if we can make any adjustments. And what do I mean by that? So when I get done with my income minus my expenses, I'm going to either have a positive or a negative, right? And if I've got a positive, I've got a surplus and I've got money left over, and then I need to reevaluate my income and see, can I make any changes to that? Because if I have too much income, then that's going to equal maybe possibly taxes and things like that we don't want. And if I have a short flow or negative, then I need to evaluate that and say, why am I running short? I need to go back to my needs and wants and see if I can reevaluate and make any adjustments for that. So that's a good way to always doing this all the time. And the last category I'll give you is we need to review at least semi-annually. And what you're trying to do is give yourself gauges. It doesn't matter if you compare your assets every 6 months and see if I'm going up or down, or am I spending my money differently. I want to take a good look at my trends, and what I want to try to do is have some predictability on inflows, outflows, and how things are going. So this gives you a good gauge on at least getting started on a budget, and then working with us independently. Sometimes it's good for you to send that to us, and we'll look at it again unemotionally to it, and we can help you do these things right here. We can help you make the adjustments that you need to make. Again, everything in life is about cash flow. How do we control our cash flow to make sure that our investments stay intact so we don't run out of money? And if we do all these things and paying minimal income taxes, the circle that we keep working on will help us and alleviate any of that worry that we have. And I hope this gives you a good overview, at least, on getting started with the budget. Any questions, concerns, feedback? Obviously, we'd love to have it. If you need some help, reach out to us at taxandtrusthelp@gmail.com, or you can go to, obviously, the website, taxandtrusthelp.com. Thanks for your time, and have a great day.